Boom. That song hits. That song hits. I have to mute it so that I'm eligible for AdSense afterwards. But for you folks that are tuning in live, you get to listen to that song that just hits. And thanks to Nick of Croc and Robe Photography for putting that sizzle reel together. I've had it on my YouTube channel for a while, but I figured, hey, man, it's awesome. Let's make sure that it starts every live Thursday episode with a bang. All right, folks. So, welcome to another live broadcast here in the Hard to Kill podcast. We're just checking in. How are you? Hope you guys are doing just fine. As always, post in the comments if you got anything on your mind. Say, hey, Dave, what's going on? We're streaming live on X with the Veterans for Freedom Network and YouTube, and on the Hard to Kill podcast YouTube channel as well. So hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday. Let's get into it. Let's get into some share and chill. I've got three things I want to talk about today. First thing is Bro Brick. Bro Brick. Cool thing about podcasting right now that I've got a little bit of visibility thanks to you guys is people want to send me stuff. And I'm a huge fan right now of what I got the other day. It was in Atlanta. I got it before I left for Atlanta. So I wanted to give a shout out to the folks at Bro Brick. Okay. So right now, the box was full. And my kids and my wife just completely ravaged it. And now I'm down to two here. So I've got rum and cola. Oh, it smells so good. And I've got Cabin in the Woods. You got a little like scratch and sniff here too. You can, oh yeah, that one's good. That was good. Rum and cola, Cabin in the Woods. So I want to give a big shout out to Bro Brick for sending this out to me. I'm a huge fan right now. Canadian company, good old Canadian boys and girls, making some great products. So that's is it Bro Brick? TheBroBrick.com. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Make my butt smell good. I love it, man. So, folks, just FYI, if you have companies that make soap and make me smell good, that provide me caffeine, and also clothe me and my children, I'll gladly share your products on the podcast. Gladly. Just like Pro Patria Coffee right over there. I don't know if you can see it. Pro Pat Coffee. I've been sipping on some Pro Pat coffee recently since the Military Influencer Conference. It's been great, let me tell you. So thanks, Bro Brick. Really appreciate it. Next up, I wanted to chat about something that I think is of concern. Okay. And what is that concern? Let me just bring it up here, guys. I lost the file, so give me a second here. It's related to my visibility online. All right. Now, the last time I checked, I only had 40% of folks that are tuning in to my broadcast and tuning into the podcast as subscribers. That, folks, is just that breaks my heart. That really breaks my heart. I got the image here. Let's blow this up a little bit. Share this tab instead. All right. So look, guys, here it is. Watch time from subscribers last 28 days. Not subscribe. Freeloaders 60%, 59.7%. And shout out to you 40% that are subscribed. Appreciate it. But 60% are just 60%. It's a lot, man. Hit that subscribe button. Goes a long way. Probably don't know that. Probably just think it's just a subscribe. It's not. It's more. It's more than that. It's everything. So hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and while you're at it, head over to Apple Podcasts as well. I was checking out my reviews there. I'm like, what's going on? 10 reviews. There's 10,000 downloads a month. 10,000 downloads a month, and 10 people have said, yeah, it's okay. 10? Oh, killing me, guys. You're killing me. when you guys write me, say, "Hey, awesome episode," go put it online. Okay, I appreciate the personal touch. Don't get me wrong, but in order to hit those algorithms, we need to get the reviews in. That's what's important. So if you're in the process of looking at your phone today, keep me in mind. Go give me a review. Much appreciated. And lastly, a more serious tone. I'm going to take a more serious tone here, folks, because as you know, I was in, or maybe you don't, but I was in Atlanta for the Military Influencer Conference and met some awesome people. And today I wanted to give a shout out to Sarah. She's the director of the Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program at the wearblueruntoremember.org. And I had a really good conversation and a really good PT session with them. And something that the Americans do far better than Canadians is they recognize the people that actually care, the people that put the extra mile in, people that go to bat for the community, but also they honor their fallen very well. And before our run, we each got a uh, memorial card, just like this one here, okay, of one of their fallen comrades. And we read their names out and then went for a run. Now, this organization, from what I understand, holds runs during our Remembrance Day, so Veterans Day in the United States, in honor of the fallen. And I think it's a great idea. And I think we need to do more like that up here. But let me read out some of the names of the fallen that I'd like to recognize here in the podcast. Sergeant Jason J. Vargo, 23 May 2012, 29 years old. Joshua D. Madigan, 20th of April 2010, 24 years old. Dennis M. Urdaneta, 28 May 2019, 40 years old. Dennis M. Urdaneta, 28 May 2019. Major Jean M. Murderwa, 29 September 2016. Tyler R. Walsh, 31 August 2009. Colonel Timothy Hoyden, 10 November 2018. And John L. Hallett, the third, killed in action, 25 August 2009. Let they not grow old, lest ye forget. We will remember them. Remembrance Day is coming up, and it's getting about that time of year. So it shouldn't just be on Remembrance Day that we remember our fallen. So shout out to my American brothers and sisters for what you do and for being great at what you do and showing us the leadership that is required to step up our game here in Canada. So thanks for that. So moving on, I wanted to cover off a few things today related to obviously our health. And one thing that has hit my radar is this post from Aaron O'Toole. Let me make that a little bit bigger for y'all. So Aaron O'Toole, the former leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, tweeted today, traumatic brain injury is something we are learning a lot more about, and I hope VAC keeps up with the science and offers support for injured veterans. So let's get into what this article is saying. And this is the article. This retired Master Corporal kicked down doors as a member of the military's elite forces. Now Veterans Affairs is shutting him out. Joint Task Force 2 soldier is facing a new battle. Veterans Affairs Canada refusal to accept traumatic brain injury. Now, on a side note, the Concussion Legacy Foundation and Project Enlist got a close relationship with the folks there. They're actually very close to where I am broadcasting this from in terms of the executive members. They live in very close proximity, so I get to chat with them. And the issue here is that we're not keeping up with the research, and folks are falling through the cracks. And the visibility on this is not great. And there may be a substantial amount of folks that are being treated for post-traumatic stress when in fact they have mild traumatic brain injury. And based on what I understand from the studies they've been doing on the brains of soldiers that have been donated posthumously, there is brain damage in terms of CTE, which is what we see in football players and made famous with the movie with Will Smith called Concussion. That needs to be addressed. Needs to be addressed. I had Dallas Alexander on the podcast earlier in the year, and he said one of the things that was going to get him out of the military, anyways, was the concussions. And he was a hockey player before that. So the issue is real, and the unfortunate reality is that right now, Veterans Affairs doesn't want to recognize it. And this is kind of, I guess you want to call it the first shot across the bow, because I know the Concussion Legacy Foundation has been doing a lot of work. I've been at their gala events. They have a lot of heavy hitters behind them, generals, folks like Ken Dryden. There's a lot of critical mass behind this, but yet there's still a reluctancy from Veterans Affairs to award individuals a service-related injury for whatever reason. Let's read the article a little bit further. Shane Nedowin's role as a breacher of the Canadian Military Special Operations Force put him in charge of kicking down doors, sometimes literally, sometimes in ways the retired Master Corporal says are too sensitive to discuss. But the job is to clear a path so fellow soldiers can get through. Now he's up against a door he can't seem to force open. Veterans Affairs Canada refusal to accept he had a traumatic brain injury caused by 22 years of exposure to blasts. The government does accept that he has injuries. The rejection later for his application for disability benefits for TBI notes that his clinical history is consistent with a brain injury. But Veterans Affairs said in the letter, viewed by the Globe and Mail, repetitive exposure, I'm going to highlight this here. Repetitive exposure to blast injuries isn't supported in expert medical literature as leading to cognitive decline. well, Veterans Affairs. Can I raise my hand? Part of what I used to do, I used to be an educator, and I did a master's degree. My master's project was in concussions, specifically to make sure that a protocol can be implemented at the high school level. Repetitive exposure to blast injuries isn't supported by expert medical literature as leading to cognitive decline. That is a false statement. That is a false statement. And let's read on. Mr. Nedowin, backed by some experts in the field, says that's not true. It's time for the government to catch up with the science, they argue, because if they don't, they're putting soldiers' lives even at more risk. All of his friends are suffering. Yeah, I can only imagine. Especially the JTF, CanSoft. Hell, like you can take even a reservist like myself, and in the summer where you're running grenade ranges, claymore ranges, 84 ranges, you're sucking up a lot of concussive blast waves, especially if you're staff on the range or you're the range RSO. Now, if you do that for a career, let's say you're running those ranges, man, that's a lot of blasts and you don't see any combat. Anecdotally, having spent a few days as enemy force against the JTF when I was a young corporal, and they said, sit in this room, don't move. If you do, it's your problem. I was like, yes, sir. And so I just like curled up in a room with my like paintball gun, and they were doing breaches on the building we're coming in. I wasn't in anywhere near the breach, and man, the blast is just, oh, so repetitive events like that, and when you do it all day, and then they're jumping, they're doing God knows what else, CQB stuff with maybe shotguns, hand-to-hand combat stuff. All these things add up. Like they add up. And if you don't have time to recover, because that's the key here. It's not we don't want to do this anymore. I think folks get wrapped around the axle. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do? We can't train him. No. It's not that you can't train anymore. It's just that you have to be aware that anytime there's some sort of concussive force, however minor it is, there has to be some back off time, and guys need to just be monitored. So it may take 2-3 days to kind of clear it out. But that's why it's called a mild traumatic brain injury. The brain will recover, but if you have repetitive mild traumatic brain injuries, then you have a really hard time recovering, and then you get really messed up. Um, so quite a few friends I know have been on the edge and back, and I know many more dead veterans. Do we have to see more? Uh, do we have to see before? How many more do we have veterans? Do we have to see before somebody will care? Yeah, I mean, I'll get into another topic, right, about this related to the vaccine injuries. But I don't, I just don't think we do care. And by we, I mean the government institutions. To care would imply that you would do something about things, but they don't. And they have to get forced to do things. So therefore, I think it's in our best interest to organize. Since we need to force the issue on things, we have to organize and we have to get aggressive. So we have to make sure that we understand policy and we have to get the folks that actually can hold them accountable. And that includes lawsuits. I don't know if creating a veteran union is something that is even feasible, but it definitely should be something, in my opinion. They need to have a substantial block rather than individuals kind of attacking things as we move forward. I would even argue that to avoid this long term, the Canadian Forces needs a union. I mean, I think it's high time for it to happen. For us not to have one would be negligent, in my opinion. There are European NATO countries that have unions. It prevents abuse. I mean, the reason why the new veteran charter came in, as I'm learning, is because they offered it to the RCMP. They said, no. Their union's like, this is a terrible offer. But with the military, they go, oh, any objections? Sorry, going once, going twice. Oh, that's right. You can't. I think it's time that we create a union, to be honest. So those that are in, creating a union is tricky, right? Because as soon as you start, you can be arrested. It goes against code of service discipline. So it's going to take some ballsy individuals to get it started. But I think that's the way forward, because then at least the abuse can stop. The lack of transparency can stop. If you're going to go to war, it'd be like, all right, we're really doing this. All right, let's make sure all the things are in place so that when we come back, we're good. I think that's the way forward. Let's get into the comments. The comments are lighting up here. So I want to see what's going on. Odious Patton, awesome. Thanks for showing up again. Much appreciated, bro brick. Yep. If you know them, give them a high five. I can't remember my name, terrible with names. They reached out to me on Instagram. So shout out to them again. Binks Webelf, whatever happened to Jeff? I'm not quite sure who we're talking about here. Jeff who? And we got some new folks here that I haven't seen before. Billy Ray 105. Hey, good to see you here. And cool. And Odious Patton. Thanks again, man. Like and shared. As always, much appreciated. If you guys are curious and want to know how you can buy me a coffee, you can become a member. And membership is on the app. There's 2 different tiers. And for a monthly subscription, you get personalized content. You get previews of content before it goes live. And additionally, there's discounts on merchandise. So feel free to become a member. I appreciate it very much. For under $10 a month, you can be part of the Hard to Kill community and help grow a veteran-owned business. All right. So let's get this off the... Oh my God. What's going on here? Oh my God. There we go. Oh, Purple Cat's back. Hey, Purple Cat. What's going on? So where was I? We're in that's it. We're in a bit of a shit state with Veterans Affairs and concussions. And I hope there's more to follow on that. I'm definitely going to be asking more questions, and likely we'll be doing an entire podcast on this in the near future. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Okay, moving on. I released an episode last week with Catherine Christensen and Max. Max is currently serving, but is being medically released. So he's being medically released because he got injured because of the pokey poke in his arm. Now, the terrible thing about this is not only has he gone through hell and back with medical complications, he still suffers from lots of them. He's the dad, he's a father, he needs to support his family. He's being released, so that means he's not going to have a steady income, right? Due to universality of service. Now, he was mandated to take this, but the issue is VAC is not recognizing his injuries as service related. So he's on his first appeal, and we're going to see how this goes. The reason why Catherine is involved here is because they've got a lawsuit spooled up in the event that VAC decides, yeah, you know what, we're not going to consider this service related. Now, as Max points out, and this is a clip, unbelievable vaccine injury dismissed by Canadian government. I just point out, Max says there's roughly 100 or so, or just under 200 Canadian Forces members that have been injured by this. That's a lot. And I would argue there's probably more, but they're just not coming forward. And the reason for that is because if we look at just in general what's going on here, and this is across the planet, but I'm just going to show the Canadian statistics here. So this is public information, vaccineinjurysupport.ca. So this is the program that was set up because, well, a program like this has always existed for injuries due to arm jabs, but this one is general as well. So not related just to C19. In total, it's paid out $14 million, but it won't get into the actual details of the C19 jabs. So overall, total number of claims received 2,628 since June 1st, 2021. Now, it doesn't specify which, because don't forget, there's a whole bunch of different things that you put in your arm, right? So the idea here is that this covers all of them, and the fact that this was only started in 2021 is kind of shocking. I don't know if there was a program before this, but considering that, you know, there are substantial risks with putting anything in your body, you think that they would have something similar to the Americans, which have been set up for decades. Anyways, so this is here. So this is just like general benchmark. But the tide is changing, and the reason why I say that is because if you look at the New York Times, and unfortunately it's paywalled, but thousands believe COVID vaccines harm them, and this is coming out in the New York Times, and this is recent as well. I believe it was this month or last month. If I look back here, no, this is 4th of May, 2024. So based on its headline, all things that go in your arm have at least occasional side effects, but people who say they were injured by COVID, things that go in your arm, believe the cases have been ignored. And yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, imagine you get seriously harmed by, I don't know, by a piece of equipment at your at your work. Okay, let's say you know, a beam swings over, or like a forklift hits you, and you get messed up. Like you get some broken bones, maybe you have some lingering chronic pain, and you go, "Well, I need to get workman's comp. I got hurt at work." No, you didn't. Excuse me, what? Yeah, I did. Like we have like you had. I was going to work because that was my job. I had to be there to do the thing, and then I got injured. Yeah, we don't believe you. Imagine you were to do that to somebody. Imagine the mental anguish that would put somebody through. Like you're not. This has nothing to do with politics. I'm injured. Help me. Sorry, man. By the tone of your voice, you must be an anti-vaxxer. By the tone of your voice, you're probably right wing. By the tone, this is such an insane thing to say to somebody. And I think the tide is finally turning. And the idea that you wouldn't be compassionate towards somebody that is injured, and you would deny claims because it goes against your quote unquote narrative, is the disgusting part of our last few years of history. I don't know what to say about it. Like I think I'm over it in terms of like my emotional response. Now I'm just more cerebral about it, maybe. I'm a little bit more rational about it. Humans are going to be human, and they're going to do awful things regardless. And this is just one of the things that in my lifetime I've experienced as a mass psychosis. And I hope we don't have to see any more. But since we haven't atoned for any of our sins, I don't think we're going to move past this anytime soon. And the powers that be are going to fight tooth and nail. And that brings me to, hey, the sacrifice medal. I only learned about this literally yesterday. I didn't know this existed. Because I was talking about Purple Hearts because there was a great comedian in Atlanta who was shot in the head on he was one of the first in Iraq. And so obviously he had some lingering issues, and he was out of the military because of it, and he got a Purple Heart. But he's like, yeah, he had Purple Heart like license plates in the States, and he told a whole funny story about it. I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder if we have anything like that. So I was telling the story. It's like, my buddy's like, yeah, man, it's a sacrifice medal. I go, what? Oh, yeah. Well, what makes you eligible for the sacrifice medal? So I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Eligible cases. So maybe this is the first time you hear about this, but if it's not, well, sit tight. You're going to hear stuff that you've already heard before. Eligible cases: if you died on or after the 7th of October as a direct result of hostile action, as a direct result of military service, including all the above here or all the below, wounded under honorable circumstances as a direct result of hostile action, gunshots, IEDs, anti-personnel mines, explosions, building collapse, VBIEDs, like all the wild stuff, right? Wounded as a result of a fire. Like, they really codify everything here. It's like, all right, harsh treatment or neglect while captive of a hostile force. Yeah, they'll do it. Getting poked with sticks. Use of nuclear, biological, chemical agents by a hostile force. And then mental disorder diagnosed by a qualified mental health practitioner. Operational stress injury resulting from enemy action or suicide caused by such mental disorders related to hostile action. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, it's too much coffee. I got the burps. So that's interesting. I did not know this even existed, and now I realize there's a medal out there. So uh, I qualify, and so did my buddy. So we filled in our applications. And how do you fill in your applications? It's actually quite simple. If I can only find it, a sacrifice medal right here, applications process. You just literally print out the form. And again, it's like applications page. Of course, I clicked on the applications page and it takes me to another applications page. And then what you need to do is actually just fill in this form here. No, that's not it. Oh, Canada. Get me so upset with your freaking form after form after form. I don't even remember where it is. Anyways, the link's here somewhere. Is it how to apply? Oh, that's so frustrating. Anyways, there's a link somewhere here. It's just I'm under stress. I'm under duress because I'm on live. But you fill it in, you print it, you sign it, and you send the form by mail to here. So I was under the impression that if you were wounded, you automatically got an award, but you have to actually apply for it. And it's just some corporal at some office at D&D. Get your medals. Seriously, get your recognition. We do such a shit job at recognizing anything here. And the fact that we have to do it ourselves, that is so Canadian. But go do it. You know, it's Remembrance Day coming up. Go get your medals. If you were wounded after 2001, go get your medal. You earned it. So, with that being said, let's get into the last thing I wanted to cover off today, which was you've been wounded. Okay, you've got a TBI. You've got your sacrifice medal. Now it's time to hit the next chapter, and that means getting yourself healthy and fit. So the next phase needs to include something like this, which I call the 30 to lean 30-day weight loss challenge. Okay, so the point of this challenge is to get veterans healthy and fit and their habits dialed in 30 days. Big picture, it's 30 days. Every day you do 30 minutes of activity, including 20 minutes of PT, which is not CrossFit. It's anything you want, but I highly recommend you just stick to walking. So all you need is a pair of shoes, an internet connection, and the will to actually do the challenge. We've got 3 amazing guest speakers. I'll show you who they are right now. We've got Dr. Philip Bavadia. He's a board certified cardiac surgeon. He's been on the podcast twice. Will completely change your mindset and your paradigm around metabolic disease and what is making you fat and what is making you unhealthy. He knows because he used to be morbidly obese, was following all the government guidelines, and then just realized, man, I'm operating on people and they have these heart problems, but they're overweight, but a lot of them are thin too. What the hell is going on? And his insights are going to be really valuable, and he's going to be presenting as one of our guest lecturers. Mike Bledsoe, he's a veteran mindset expert. He's the OG when it comes to podcasting. Had a killer podcast back in the day, Barbell Shrugged. And he's going to be going over relationship issues, how to build stronger relationships, because this is one of the fundamental skills we lose or we don't have because most of us in the military have very superficial relationships with a lot of people because we're transient. We go from one base to another. We don't build strong bonds. And then on top of that, the strong bonds that we do make, eventually we know they're not going to last because we're going to move or we're going to get hurt or we're going to get killed. It's bad. It's hard on us. So he's going to show us how to actually build those better. And then Dr. Teresa Larson, she's a USMC vet, and she's going to be talking about physical health. And she's a mental health advocate as well. And she knows her stuff inside out and backwards. And she's going to be presenting during the challenge as well. So even if you just want to show up for the guest lecturers, please do so. This is the place to be. We're also going to have some special guest lecturers that aren't listed here, but we're going to be talking about mild traumatic brain injury. We're going to be talking about how to use outside the box therapies for PTSD as well. So it's more than just a weight loss challenge. We're going to be looking at your health holistically. We're throwing the kitchen sink at you. And the reason for that is because we want to get you as healthy as possible for as low a price point as possible. You could also win a massive bundle from LeBear Fitness, which is home equipment gear home training gear that I use. I literally have it here in my office. It's badass stuff. We start on the 28th. So registration ends on the 27th of October. You get approximately $5,000 worth of value for 29 bucks. Okay. So it's $1 a day. It's actually 99.9 something cents a day for you to join. You can invest $1 into yourself and maybe not get that coffee. This is going to benefit you significantly more than that Timmy's double, which is probably like $4.50 now. All right. So go easy on the coffees, go easy on the doubles this month. Come join the challenge and we'll start getting you dialed in. The folks that have done it before have said nothing but great things and have gone on to do bigger and better, including Donnie from Newfoundland, my favorite Newf, if I can say that. He started the program and wanted to be able to go for hikes with his wife. He's been able to do that. He's dropped over 20 pounds and now he's an inspiration for his friends. And he just kept on going. 30 lean was just the springboard. Dave here as well was the springboard. Bad sciatic pain was holding him back at work. He's a veteran, but is also a police officer now. Now he's able to lift again. He feels better. He lost 20 pounds. Feels great. Paula, she lost 11 pounds in 30 days. She thought it was like, wow, this is actually feels like I'm not doing work. It's actually kind of easy. That's exactly what we want here. Sonia just learned a bunch of new things. She's just really thankful for learning a bunch of new knowledge from the program. Sean, we joined together. He could run like the wind, put on a bit of weight since he became a teacher, since he got out. Now he's able to run better. He's able to sleep better and he just feels better overall and he lost upwards of 20 pounds. Gavin too. Gavin just didn't realize how important it is to have other people in the ring with you when you're trying to lose weight. So gained a lot from the challenge as well. So folks, if you're really considering this, then you need to go to the website. I'll show you exactly where it is here. I'll put it in the chat and you can go directly to it. We're going to be hosting this in the Veterans Getting Fit AF community. And in that community, we're building a healthier, stronger veteran community. And we're learning from not only myself and others, but the guests they're coming in and helping us create that community, and not just military folks. Okay. You can see here, we're bringing in people from all over. Okay. We need to leverage our networks and we need to leverage the people that are willing to help, because a lot of folks, believe it or not, love helping the troops. Less so Veterans Affairs, more so the people out there that have genuine concern and want to help and want to see our veteran population thrive. So that's the 30 to lean. Folks, I've got loads more to cover on that, but if you have questions, the best thing you could do is reach out to me on socials, either on Instagram or X. I'm very active there now as well. Or just come join the group. Come join the group and just start firing me off questions. I love answering as many as I can. And if I don't have the answer, I'll find somebody that does. So let's get into the comments here. Let's see how things are going over here before I got to go pick up the kids. Odious, you're wounded, not under fire. Yeah, I wasn't under fire. I mean, it was enemy action, but go check out the criteria. Yeah, it has to be on mission. That's the only criteria. Yeah, walking 30 minutes a day. Yeah, I mean, like that's it. I mean, like I say, consistency is king. I had a brain fart there. Did you see it? Consistency is king, and the the more that you can do consistently will outweigh short bursts of intensity every day. So therefore, it's not really impressive to do CrossFit, let's say for like 2, 3 months straight, like 3 times a week. What's more impressive is 20 years of never missing your 20-minute walk. That will have substantially better results long term than doing your CrossFit phase every few years and then realizing, oh man, this sucks every year. Why do I keep on doing this? It's do the things that are constantly going to get you closer and closer to your goal. And if the goal is longevity, if the goal is health, if the goal is being there for your kids and your grandkids and being able to go on trips and go walk through, the hills of Sicily or whatever it may be during your retirement. I want to be able to climb up the pyramid if they allow that when I'm older or now, whenever. Hey, you got to have a baseline of fitness. Your legs got to be strong. You got to be lean. You can't be morbidly obese. These are all things that you need to keep in mind. So maybe it's time to hang up the CrossFit shoes, and maybe it's time to just put on the walking shoes and watch what you eat and just enjoy life. That's kind of the phase I'm in. Sure, I like lifting, that, but my consistent thing to do is go for walks, get outside, and make sure that I don't go through really bad spells of injury flare-ups. Like that's really what I'm up to, and that's what I'm hoping to convey to you guys. So, folks, I think that about wraps it up. So, just to summarize here, um, keep an eye on this topic here. Keep an eye on what's going on with mild traumatic brain injuries, and if you are suffering from mild traumatic brain injury, I know that Concussion Legacy Foundation is looking for folks. So I can provide more context to that and then post some details on X and on social media, and likely do an episode on that in the near future. Additionally, last episode that I did the other week was on burn pits. So make sure to start collecting your medical data. In order to get all your medical data, you may have to ATIP everything. Just make sure you have it. Okay. Make sure you have all your reports. Make sure you have, the fact that it's proven that you actually deployed to a place like Afghanistan or Iraq. And then that should ensure that if legislation were to come down the pipe, you would be covered for any gnarly things that could come about with burn pit exposure. Or on the other side of that coin, you'd be able and eligible to sue Veterans Affairs for not recognizing your burn pit injury. Now that they've started recognizing folks with cancer, exotic cancers, due to their service and due to burn pits, we can start putting the pressure on there as well. And then lastly, I guess the thing with the pokey in your arm. If you're injured, clearly there's a movement afoot to start holding people accountable in the calf and in VAC. So make sure to get your ducks in a line. I know Catherine has taken on a client. I don't know how many she can still, but there's a change coming, and it's probably in your best interest to start looking after your paperwork and making sure that those are in order. So if and when the time comes, you can start getting your payment or your recognition of what is owed to you. So I guess that's it for me. Yeah, I'm starting to shut her down. It's been a long day. There's more to follow. I didn't even cover the fact that my new book will be coming out at the end of November, but I'll do more to make you guys more aware and tell you what it's all about next week. Let's do it next week. So that's it for me, folks. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget, go like, subscribe here on YouTube. Also, if you like the audio version, go to Apple Podcasts, like the podcast, write a review. 10 is unsat. At least YouTube, I've got 6,000 subscribers. I'm happy with that. But on Apple Podcasts, got 10 reviews and 10,000 downloads a month. So something's got to change there. So go do what you got to do, and grab other people's phones, hit like, write a review for it as well. I'd appreciate it very much. And that's it for me. Train hard, fight easy. Peace.